This may just be one of my most disputed Day It Died videos I've ever made. And that's me saying this while I'm still in the process of making it. Because when it comes to the Home Alone franchise, for one reason or another, it seems like there's two schools of thought. There are those that will tell you the first movie was a Christmas classic and should have stayed a one and done. That 2 is just a tired retread of the first one trying to recapture lightning in a bottle. But then there are plenty of others who will tell you that the second film is on the same level, if not of a similar quality to the first film. That all of the recycled gags are fun callbacks. And that the series truly died a death with the third installment. One that took the franchise in a different direction with a brand new lead. I don't know many people who loved or even liked any of the follow-up films, and if I'm being honest with you, I don't even know too many people who even know about most of the follow-up films. But we'll get there eventually. First, let's quickly recap. The first Home Alone starred a young Macaulay Culkin as a young Kevin McAllister, the middle child in a very large family, one that feels even larger when they get together for the holidays. While they plan an extended vacation with their extended family, Kevin gets lost in transportation, and for the holidays, he's left home alone. The parents panic as they try to make their way back to their accidentally abandoned son, but they run into a few obstacles on their way home. Meanwhile, a pair of low-level robbers calling themselves the Wet Bandits stake out the place and plan on breaking in. But they immediately meet their match. What happens next is what I can only describe as a PG rendition of the movie Saw, with Kevin getting his revenge on the not-so-dynamic duo, and comedy ensues. The movie, which would see the torture of 2 grown men at the hands of a child, could also be surprisingly wholesome, with lessons learned all throughout, though those same lessons would of course also be relearned in the next entry as well, sort of silently undoing the impact of the final moments from the first film. Kevin yet again has to learn that not everyone different is scary, that he shouldn't always judge a book by its cover, and Kevin's parents have to learn to pay closer attention to their child to make sure he's accounted for and in attendance at all times. The plot does admittedly retread the first movie a bit, just now changing the setting. And I will give credit to those that hate it, because it's the same people but now all in a different place by coincidence, sometimes it can feel a little bit forced. A lot of the key plot points in this film had me thinking, oh, what are the chances? Kevin winds up getting separated from his family? Ah, what are the chances? He ends up in New York where he runs into Marv and Harry, who just so also be planning their next big heist following their escape after the first film? Oh, what are the chances? I mean, there's callbacks, and then there's literally copy and pasting entire scenes from your script with slight tweaks. If I backspace interior Kevin's house, and instead I put interior hotel, now it's a different movie. However, for me personally, what makes all of this acceptable is that the movie provides audiences with everything that made the first movie so special, and new inclusions that kind of give this its own separate identity from the first film. You have the whole McAllister family, and the formerly wet, currently sticky bandits. But in addition to all of these returning elements, are also brand new ones that fit the tone of the movie and blend in seamlessly with the established lore. Tim Curry, Rob Schneider, and Dana Ivey play the Plaza staff, who also wind up becoming extra antagonists for this lost boy. Suspicious of his presence in their hotel, they offer more harm than help. So yeah, I get people's problems with this movie. I think that they're all completely valid. A lot of it is the same as the first, but I do think the different elements the sequel offers up keeps it fresh, and keeps me fond of it in spite of its very blatant retelling of the first film. Now, Home Alone 3, however, well, that's kind of a different story. Gone was Kevin, and in his place was Alex. Gone were Marv and Harry, and in were international terrorists. Yeah, that's a much more severe threat. I don't know how you're gonna keep this one lighthearted, but you do you. Now, this kid's got twice as many bad guys who are twice as smart and twice as bad. Yet somehow, their master plans are also thwarted by an 8-year-old, as is tradition. A lot of the time I hear this movie complained about because it has nothing to do with Kevin, but honestly, how many times do you want to tap into that well? How many times could this one specific kid be abandoned by his parents? At some point, CPS has to step in. I'm sorry. How many times can this happen? Well, Home Alone 4 decided to answer that question. You see, at the time, Home Alone 3 was seen as a box office bomb. A total dud of a movie. and someone decided that all of this negative reception had to do with the fact that there was no Kevin McAllister. So instead they went back to formula and made a new Home Alone movie with Kevin McAllister. And without Macaulay Culkin. Though, to be fair, I think at this point in time that ship had already sailed. Despite being titled Home Alone 4, the movie in actuality was a sequel to Home Alone 2. Though despite its connection to the original duology, it didn't bring back any of the cast, and more importantly, any of the charm that the first two films had. Although that's not for a lack of trying. Apparently Daniel Stern was asked to return to the role of Marv, but turned it down after reading the script because he felt it was, and I quote, insultingly bad. So you can already see that we have a true recipe for success here. This movie has to be the worst of the worst. None of it really makes any sense or lines up with the original classics, but it's still desperately trying to tie itself to them. It barely feels vaguely reminiscent of those movies. Sure, it uses bits and pieces from those movies, but it completely misuses them. Then there are other elements that are completely forgotten or erased without rhyme, reason, or explanation. Let's just go through some of the list. Let's start with the McAllister family. They are no longer a family. Yet for some reason after 2, despite there being no trouble in paradise, Kevin's parents have divorced off screen, and his dad's already moving on with his life, dating another woman who he's pretty serious about. The family has also decreased in size in other ways as well, as not only are they down a dad, and also without the usual extended family, but in addition, they're also subtracting siblings. In Home Alone 1 and 2, Kevin had 2 brothers and 2 sisters, Buzz, Jeff, Megan, and Linny. But in Home Alone 4, he just has 1 brother and 1 sister, Buzz and Megan. His other siblings are never mentioned and seemingly have ceased to exist. Likewise, Harry doesn't exist in this movie. But at least he's referenced, so we know at some point he did. Marv is also now played by French Stewart, because if you're looking to recast a lead in an inferior sequel, give old Frenchie a call. Now, what drives me wild here is that despite him playing Marv, the character doesn't look like, act like, sound like, or even dress like the original character. For one reason or another, despite being Marv, once again, French Stewart is dressed up as Harry. Why? I have no idea. And the people who put this movie together also probably didn't either. I don't think anybody had any idea beside profit. Make it cheap, put it out there, stick a brand on it, get money. Oh, they loved the first 2 Home Alones. We just need to make another one. Doesn't matter. They'll watch it. It says Home Alone. And nobody did. Nobody did. To call it incredibly misguided would be an understatement. This was a mistake. And then there's Home Alone 5, which was yet another Kevin-less installment, which spends the whole runtime trying to pay homage to the original movies and failing to do so in every way. Honestly, there is so little going on in this movie that I even struggle to talk about it at all. A random brother and sister take on thieves. Yeah, that's the whole movie. That's it. That's the movie. This one is actually maybe the worst of the bunch, because it feels like it was hastily put together and half-assed, but at least it has the benefit of being completely forgettable. You can watch all of these movies, and you'll probably, for the most part, remember the bad parts of the badder ones, but you won't remember anything from this one. I watched it, and then immediately after, it was like the Men in Black showed up and mind-wiped me, because I don't remember any of it. Though I will say the next and final installment really does try to give that one a run for its money. Home Alone 5 is bad because it's not memorable, but Home Alone 6 is memorably bad. Home Sweet Home Alone. This time, it's not focusing on thieves or terrorists trying to terrorize a child, but instead it's about some weird mix-up with a rare figure that causes these 2 going-for-broke bozos to break into a kid's house to steal back what's theirs, only to find out that he never had it to begin with. This, like the last few entries, was a misguided attempt at cashing in on the name of a brand, without doing any of the research as to why people like that brand, and without putting any of the work into making people love this new installment. What's even stranger is in an effort to solidify this entry, they actually had the gall to try to tie this into the original Home Alone flicks, even bringing back a grown-up Buzz to play a part in the plot. With his original actor too, by the way. Yeah, no thanks. Too little, too late, too shitty. This movie was so bad that the director of the first two films and its star Macaulay Culkin have made passing complaints about its quality or lack thereof. So, now that we've gone through all of this, let's be real. That first Home Alone was perfect. It never needed a sequel. And it definitely didn't need 5 of them. I think the second one offers up enough new things for it to live up to the original's legacy, even if it's not necessary and it definitely comes off as derivative. I think Home Alone 3 was extra unnecessary, but I actually think it's alright enough on its own. Yeah, you take the Home Alone name off of it and it's alright, it's fine, it's whatever, it's cute. But also, if you didn't have the Home Alone name on it, it would have been called a Home Alone ripoff, so there was no winning that one. But anything that came after that was not only not necessary and made no sense, but it was also not necessary nonsense. Home Alone has been on life support since its first sequel. I think it took its last breath during its threequel. Everything that followed feels like a soulless attempt to cash in on a classic, with no laughs to be had, no new narrative threads, and no heartfelt story to tell.
Ugh, this is garbage. I don't know why they're always trying to remake the classics. Never as good as the originals.
It's clear that these movies were made by people with no new creative ideas trying to capitalize off someone else's homework. And quite frankly, I just wish at this point they left it alone. Home Alone. Anyway, with all that being said, that was the day Home Alone died for me. If you feel differently, let me know in the comment section below. And if you like this video and hope to see more of the Day It Died videos here on the channel, let me know in the comment section below by leaving a comment saying,
I was watching Home Alone at home alone.
I am vengeance. I am the night, and that was V Infuso. Just remember, if you're not tuning in, then you're missing out.
So, if you like the words that came out of his mouth hole, and you too would like to become a V-generate, don't forget to like and subscribe. Thanks for watching, nerds!
And if you're not joining the fun, you're in for one bad day. And you know what they say about having one bad day?
Catch him next time. Same bat time. Same bat channel.